In the quiet countryside of Castilla-La Mancha, in a small village called Fuentealbilla, a boy named Andrés Iniesta was born on May 11, 1984. From the earliest years of his life, he seemed different, not in volume or presence but in awareness. He watched the game of football like someone who already understood it deeply. As other children ran chaotically across the pitch, Andrés moved with purpose. While others kicked with strength, he passed with intent. By the time he was 6, coaches in his village were already saying he saw things no one else did. His father, a modest man who ran a wine business, saw something in his son, something rare. He took Andrés to a youth tournament in Albacete, where the boy's subtle brilliance quickly drew attention. But it wasn't until he played in the Brunet tournament, a prestigious youth competition in Spain, that the country's biggest club took notice. FC Barcelona sent scouts. They saw a quiet, pale boy who let the ball do the talking. He wasn't flashy. He wasn't physical. But he was flawless. The decision was made. At the age of 12, Andrés Iniesta would leave home to join La Masia. It was not an easy move. He was small, introverted, and homesick. For months he cried at night, missing his family and familiar surroundings. La Masia was a dream for most, but for Andrés, it was a test of character as much as talent. The other kids were loud and competitive. Iniesta was gentle and silent. But every day he trained with discipline. He listened. He absorbed everything. Coaches began to realize he wasn't just technically gifted, he was intellectually advanced. He understood space, time, rhythm. He knew when to slow down and when to speed up. At an age when others wanted the ball to shoot, Iniesta wanted the ball to build. By 15, he was already being described as the best player in the academy by people like Pep Guardiola. At 18, he made his first team debut in a Champions League match under Louis van Gaal. It wasn't a flashy entrance, but it was solid. Year after year, Iniesta grew in confidence, but he never tried to outshine anyone. He preferred to be the link, the glue, the invisible artist who made others look better. The early 2000s were a transitional period for Barcelona. The club was rebuilding. It wasn't until Ronaldinho arrived that the style began to flourish again. And not long after that, Iniesta, Xavi, and Messi began writing one of the most beautiful chapters in football history. The trio would go on to change not just Barcelona, but the very way football was played. Iniesta's strength was in his subtlety. He didn't have the explosiveness of Messi, or the charisma of Ronaldinho, or even the vocal leadership of Puyol. What he had was serenity. No matter the situation, his expression never changed. Whether it was a Champions League final or a rainy away match against a bottom-table team, Iniesta treated every touch of the ball like a responsibility. His dribbling wasn't violent, it was poetic. He would glide, not dash. He would pivot, not lunge. He turned defenders with hips, not with pace. When Pep Guardiola became manager, everything aligned. Guardiola, once a midfielder himself, built a team around control. With Busquets anchoring, Xavi dictating, and Iniesta inventing, Barcelona became a machine of possession and intelligence. Tiki-taka was born not just from tactics but from trust. Every player knew Iniesta would not lose the ball. That trust allowed them to take risks elsewhere. With Messi as the finisher and Iniesta as the painter, Barcelona entered its golden era. The 2008-2012 period was historic. In 2009, Barcelona won the treble, La Liga, Copa del Rey, and Champions League. Iniesta was central to all of it. In the Champions League semi-final against Chelsea, with seconds left and Barcelona on the brink of elimination, he struck a goal from the edge of the box, a shot that seemed to defy physics. The ball flew past Petr Cech and into the top corner. It was a moment of explosion from a man known for stillness. That goal sent Barcelona to the final, where they beat Manchester United. It wasn't just a goal, it was a rescue, a miracle, a moment of divine timing. In the same period, Spain's national team was rising. After decades of underachievement, a generation of brilliant midfielders emerged: Xavi, Fabregas, Silva, Busquets, and of course, Iniesta. With Vicente del Bosque at the helm, Spain began to dominate. In Euro 2008, Spain triumphed, with Iniesta playing every match. He wasn't always the one on the scoresheet, but he was always the one orchestrating from the shadows. Then came 2010, the World Cup in South Africa. Spain had never reached such heights before. They advanced through the knockout stages by the narrowest margins, winning 3 matches in a row 1-0. Iniesta was brilliant throughout, constantly setting the tempo and creating chances. Then came the final. Spain versus the Netherlands. A brutal, tense affair. Kicks flew. Cards were shown. Nerves were stretched. With the match locked in extra time, Spain needed a savior. In the 116th minute, Fabregas slipped a pass to Iniesta inside the box. He took a touch. The world held its breath. Then he struck. Goal. History. Spain were world champions. Iniesta ran to the crowd, tore off his shirt, and revealed a message, Dani Jarc, siempre con nosotros. A tribute to a friend who had died the year before. That goal wasn't just a winner. It was a message of love, of loss, and of loyalty. That night, the quiet boy from Fuentealbilla became a legend. Even after winning it all, Iniesta never changed. He didn't chase fame or accolades. He didn't care for Ballon d'Or votes or interviews. He cared about the game. He loved the grass, the ball, and the joy of playing. While others aged with frustration, Iniesta aged with grace. He continued to win titles with Barcelona, more La Liga trophies, more Copa del Rey victories, more Champions League glory in 2011 and 2015. Every time he stepped on the field, fans felt peace. They knew the ball was safe. When injuries came, he managed them. When teammates retired or left, he adapted. When the crowd at Camp Nou chanted his name, he bowed his head, grateful but humble. He never asked for anything. Yet the world gave him everything: respect, love, admiration. In 2018, at the age of 34, he played his final match for Barcelona. The stadium was full. Fans held up signs that read, "Gracias, Andrés." He was substituted to a standing ovation. As he left the pitch, he touched the grass one last time. It was goodbye, but not an end. He moved to Vissel Kobe in Japan, not for money, but for a new chapter. There, too, he inspired. He helped Vissel win their first major trophy. Young players in Japan began copying his movements. His legend grew even larger. Off the pitch, Iniesta is a quiet family man. He's married, with children, and rarely seeks attention. He wrote a book about his life, not to boast, but to explain the silent struggles of a seemingly perfect career. His honesty touched many. He opened up about anxiety, pressure, and the burden of expectation. It reminded everyone that even the calmest figures sometimes carry storms inside. Today, Iniesta is more than a footballer. He is a symbol of dignity, of intelligence, of sportsmanship. He showed the world that you don't need to scream to be heard. You don't need to dive or shout or brag to be great. You just need to understand the game, love it deeply, and respect it always. One day, his name will be carved beside the greatest in history, not just because of what he won, but because of how he played, and who he was. Andrés Iniesta, the silent genius, will forever be remembered as the heartbeat of a golden generation, and the soul of the beautiful game.